friends, and welcome to episode 179 of The Rewind, a podcast dedicated to keeping its listeners on the cutting edge of the MMORPG Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. Today's episode is the hottest topic of all Pantheon topics, the Nature Wizard, also known as Druid. If you enjoy topics that drive Draq crazy, then make sure to tune in for the entire episode because he's going to lose it for an hour and a half straight. If you enjoy the content we put out or just like seeing Draq hate himself for being forced to discuss the Druid, please feel free to support us. You can subscribe to our Patreon or YouTube directly if you are in a place to do so, or a simple like and subscribe helps us a ton. I see the algorithm on our channel page. It is real. Even listening to the program beyond the words I am speaking to you right now is amazing because we have already lost 85% of our listeners in the first minute. Probably because no one wants to listen to promotions. But stick with it. It only gets better from here. Lastly, today we are joined by the number 3 healer of our After Dark crew, behind the Summoner Water Pet and Ranger Heals. He tries his best, but tanks being a shaman because he's too busy dreaming about the Druid. I look forward to exploring his obsession with the Nature Wizard, and as to why anyone would want to main a Druid is beyond me. Let's deep dive into the brain of Big Maple himself, the Great Vindini. Now, on with the show.
The party trudged through the dense forest, their boots sinking into the mossy ground. Druid perched on Archbishop's shoulder, pointing towards a clearing. "There's the source of the disturbance," he chirped. Before them stood an ancient nature druid clad in robes woven in leaves and bark. Her staff glowed with green energy, the roots of the earth coiling around her. "You intrude upon sacred ground," she intoned, her voice resonating with the hum of the forest. Ziplocks darted into the shadows, his daggers gleaming. He struck, but the druid's bark-like skin deflected the bow. With a flick of her wrist, vines lashed out, sending him tumbling into the thorn bush. Annoying Llama charged with a battle cry, fists flying. The druid summoned a storm of acorns, pelting him until he was forced to retreat. Screech tried to rally with a rousing tune, but his lute string snapped, his roots constricted his arms. Anton called on a protective glyph, but the druid's magic turned the air heavy with pollen, clouding his focus. Druid summoned a magma elemental, only for a wave of vines to smother it. Archbishop raised his hammer, but the druid summoned a spectral bear, pinning him to the ground. As the druid's magic tightens its grip, she whispered, "Respect the wild, or be consumed by it." The darkness closed in.
This week in Visionary Realms News and Notes.
All right, Dymlos, we are doing a little bit of our own breaking news today. A little Static Group Live breaking news.
Look at us. We're like a real podcast.
We're kind of like a big deal. Speaking of the podcast portion, we are doing a Rewind Steam giveaway. Now,
What?
yeah, but you have to do some things because
We need some things.
we need some things. Mainly, we need some reviews on the podcast. So if you're on Apple, if you're on iTunes, if you're on Spotify, if you're on Podbean, any of the podcasting platforms that play the audio version of this podcast, I need you to give us a review. Then just take a quick screenshot and send it to me. That will enter you for a free copy of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen through Steam. And we will give that away and announce your marvelous name and read your review next week on the show.
Unless it's terrible. I don't want to read a terrible review. Hey guys, 5 stars, but this is the worst podcast I've ever listened to in my life. These two are a bunch of idiots. No, I'm not. We're not reading that.
We are placing a lot of faith in the viewers this week. So hopefully we can our trust is well founded and they'll do a good job. Also, even if you don't want to enter for the free copy of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, please just go give us a review. We need some forward momentum on the podcast part. So pick your favorite podcasting platform, go leave us a review. We love our fans and we just need a little help. So help us out, please.
or all of them. If you have multiple accounts on all of those places, just light us up in a good way, because it's Pantheon positive in 2025. Man, I thought all the promotion stuff was done in the intro, but here we are. We just keep going with it. Sorry, everybody. Now on with the show.
5 stars is best, FYI. Before we get started with our Pantheon news, we need to make sure to bring our expert, our Druid expert, out of the box.
Welcome, Great Vindini. Please say hi to everybody.
Oh, hello, everybody. I am just so happy to be here. Now I know I finally made it. I'm on the rewind.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Remember, we were going to have you on like the first episode, and then you like bailed on us because you were like, oh, this show's terrible.
This
now
is a terrible show.
We've come full circle. You're back in. You love the show again.
I have accepted it, yes.
Well, I know it was devastating to you after Theric and Desrin left.
My boy Theric, my Canadian brother. Mm-hmm.
Of such shows as Canucks Plus.
Canucks Plus, yes, that was our biggest hit, in fact. I only have one question. Where is the fireball button? Because I need it.
There are no fireballs on the rewind. That's only streaming live on
Air horn? Can I have air horn?
No,
this is a pit bull free zone.
All right. I'll try to struggle through.
All right. Well, we got some news this week. We got a lot to discuss, so let's get to it. First of all, we have a post by VR on the official Discord, and it is by VR, but the information is from a community member, and what they did is they used a parser to get a bunch of information about combat, and they put together a chart and a readout of the percentage done of damage for each class in groups. So all the classes, how much percent of the total damage to a mob do each of the classes do? And so we have a rundown. The DPS meter reads like this. On the top, Summoners, then Monk, then Ranger, then Wizard, then Rogue, and then quite a ways down, Necro. It's not great.
Well, you know.
And
they're not DPS, right?
Clearly, they've been grouping with Draq because that's about where he is. On the
clearly, and then of course tanks and healers. But I thought this post was interesting for 2 reasons. One, because Joppa went into why we shouldn't install third-party, DPS meters and third-party apps, and we shouldn't trust them. And like he made it a whole thing on his stream about how we shouldn't do this. And now we have VR kind of promoting using this third-party DPS meter that some people get, some people don't get. Kind of feels like, it's a little icky.
Well, we spoke about this like months ago.
Yeah.
Like when we first rolled out, and Joppa was fine with it. He said, parse is fine. It's not going to ban you. It's not going to get you in trouble. Even though, we've got these rules in place about not doing this, but the parse is still okay. So I guess it is what it is on the parse. I like the ignorance of of not knowing where anybody is at. I just want people to do their jobs, and if we don't die, I don't care who is the highest DPS. Honestly, DPS is knowing if you're racing for DPS makes you a terrible player, because all you're doing is just focused on yourself and not the group play. And if we know anything about me and people playing within the group, it's a must. So please don't group with me and then just all you want to do is DPS.
Break out the DPS meter.
It doesn't make you a good player. Being on the top of the DPS chart does not make you a good player.
I just thought it was a little strange that I was watching that stream where Joppa said he didn't recommend, he wouldn't install a third-party program on his computer, but then in the forums you have one of the VR devs touting this information from one of the community members. I just thought that was a little bit strange. As far as parsers go, man, if you want to use a parser, go for it. If you want that information, that's totally fine. I know our boy Marks is a big parser guy. He loves a good parse, so I'm okay with it. But
that's just because he's a summoner and wants to be on the top.
True enough. I just thought it was weird that Joppa said that in his stream, and then we had a VR dev post that. But to each his own.
I feel like they need to pick a lane here. I feel like if they want parsers in the game, then VR should release a parser to us all so we can all use it and we can all have it. Or they should say no parsers, and then like people that parse should, face consequences. And you know what? Just pick a lane. Just pick one or pick the other. I don't care which it is, but you gotta pick one.
That's not the VR way. Are you kidding? We stay ambiguous on everything other than exploits.
Well, I think during that stream, he actually asked the chat, like, do you guys want a parser? Like, do you want a VR parser? And I think I can't remember if he put a poll up, but it seemed like the overwhelming response was no parser. But
Well, we want old school, right? Like people that are doing this, it's just, I don't know, it just ruins the group dynamic, right? Like if you can clearly see someone not pulling their own weight, even though the group's going well and you're making good experience, like gamers are already terrible people. We don't need another thing to fuel the hate out of gamers. And I just feel like a parse does that. And that's why I don't like people that secretly do it in the background and have their own numbers and are constantly watching numbers. It's not the be all end all of what makes you a good group member. If you need to sacrifice a little DPS so that the group stays alive, I mean that's important. Like if you're just going nuts and you pull aggro off the tank and you kill and wipe everybody, well, a dead DPSer doesn't do any DPS. So just play nice.
I don't mind it from the standpoint I have been a long-suffering shaman waiting for, the class we're going to talk about. I've been waiting for that for a long time. Anyways, I've been a long-suffering shaman, and they have a lot of debuffs, so I don't mind the parser from a testing standpoint just to prove, like, armor debuff works, because a lot of the times while I've been using those, I'm not sure if it's worth the mana or it's worth the cast, you know what I'm saying? So it's nice from that standpoint if you can prove it to yourself. Yes, Vindini, this works, you're an idiot.
That's a good point. Maybe we should have a parse in EA, but then when 1.0 finally arrives, it goes away.
I mean, I'd be okay with that, but that's a hard thing to take away from people.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to take away.
A lot of crying and gnashing of teeth for sure. There'd be some angry people, I'm sure.
Yeah, you're right. I just hate what it brings. It just brings only bad. There's so little good that comes out of it. Yeah, you can prove it to yourself. Yeah, you can tell VR, hey, this buff or this debuff is not working. It's all just the same. And that's good. Like, I do agree with you on that, Vindini. I think that's a great idea, but it brings out so much hate. And I hate, especially in 2025 when we're being positive.
I have been in groups where people show the parse, like in the group, and they're like, hey, you're 3 DPS behind. What are you doing? What's your build? Why aren't you wearing this? Why aren't you like? I've been in those groups, and I don't like that part.
I live that in EQ too. Every raid, it's just like here's the DPS meter. Great. I mean, I'm fine with having like a threat meter. That's wonderful
for sure.
But like the DPS, I don't need those numbers. I don't need to see that you are out DPSing other beast lords by millions of damage.
Right.
And it especially in like a raid situation, if there are 28 people that get together and you are well below the next person that's playing the same class to you, I mean, you can say, hey, what are you doing to do this? But like, I just feel like you're putting those people down. And that's not a situation. It's fine for hardcore raiders. If I'm in Faceless, I expect it because that's what I've joined. But if I'm in just a regular kind of casual, kind of hardcore raiding team, I don't need that thrown in my face. It makes me feel bad. I remember when I was playing EQ1 over on Thornblade, there was a ranger that eventually it kind of went back and forth for a couple of expansions, but then eventually he just blew me out of the water. Like I didn't even come close to him. And, I asked him what he was doing differently, but he wouldn't even tell me. So it's like you're just throwing it in my face and then not able to help anybody else out. I just don't like the hate that it breeds. I'll never get past that.
That is the flip side of the coin when you're hoarding that information. Like when you have that information and someone asks for it and you're like, figure it out yourself. I don't like that either. Help a brother out.
It's all about helping. It's a group-based game. Help others out.
That's why we play, right?
Yeah.
100%. I also thought it was interesting, the list, right? The list itself, the information that he gleaned in the post itself. It says that it doesn't account for skill, it doesn't account for level, it doesn't account for the number of
Is
each
it just
class.
all bots running it then? How does it not account for that?
No, because it's just lots of different people that are going around sucking information in
It's
from
just
chat.
the overall mean of
The overall average of all this information put together of several different people using this parser.
Well, that's why Wizard's number 4, because they all suck.
I mean,
Everyone that plays a wizard is terrible. Draq, looking at you.
Clearly, Draq participated in this parse.
Wow, that's just brutal out here.
Just kidding.
My
Wizards.
takeaway,
you should be number 1. I'm shocked that Wizard is number 4. I mean, I get that.
I think a well-geared rogue is still your number 1 TPS if you have real good gear. Now
you're number 5, although everything was pretty close. Like all the main DPS other than Necro, which is, I guess, technically not a
selfish
DPS
support.
class.
So you're definitely taking a hit on your DPS. But I find it interesting that summoners were the top. Putting that pet on every fight.
I think it's because they've got 2.
And you have 2 pets now, and it's super reliable, and it happens. You don't have to med. There's no downtime. It's in every fight. It's all the time. You don't have to mess with it. It's just always there. That trumps everything else. Because just by our feel, because we have a summoner in our weekly group, our static, it doesn't feel to me like the summoner does more damage than the wizard. But over time, over long periods of time, I think maybe it does, just because of the reliability of the pet.
And the pet always hits. Like it feels like it doesn't get resisted. Because when we had that level 18 summoner in our group when you were gone, Draq, his pets were still hitting, even though he himself as the summoner was not hitting very hard, the pets were still hitting. And so I think maybe there's some balance that needs to be in that summoner pet issue. Like it's not getting, AC is not taking place, or something's just not hitting right and needs to be rebalanced.
Well, I mean, this is probably also not taking, or definitely probably not. This is not taking into account your group makeup, right? Because if you have a shaman and a warrior, we can boost melee damage, right? With your banners, and I put a strength buff on them, plus my attack speed, plus my other strength buff. Well, that's good for the melees. And I mean, I'm sure it helps the pets too with their auto attacks or whatever. But I mean, I think Mr. C has noted that he can tell when your banner is up and I put that temp strength buff on him, he can really see the numbers go.
Makes sense. And Mr. C plays a ranger, for those that don't watch our Monday night show. And you should watch our Monday night show. It's at midnight Eastern Standard Time over on Twitch.
Yeah, and the same thing for me with the Enchanter. Like, I noticed a huge difference when our Enchanter GuloGulo is in the group or not, because he has a magic resistance debuff, but he also has a weapon combat debuff, and then I have a weapon combat debuff. So we can, between the two of us, we can debuff the magic resistance on a mob 3 different times, and they all stack. And man, when you get it debuffed that much, man, you are doing super extra damage to that mob. It's really good.
I do think we have probably the best group makeup possible, other than maybe Vin being a cleric, or vice versa. If he's a shaman, I should be a paladin. But other than that,
right, that would
I
help.
think it's
probably
good. Yeah.
I mean, I've been impressed with the warrior so far, even with the limited kit that you have. I can't wait to see what they do with the banners. I'm hoping you get to use multiple banners. I think that is the plan, but I guess we'll stay tuned and find out.
It still needs something else. I know that I get a couple of those shout things that are really nice, but it's still rough. But that's off topic. We're here to talk about damage. And warrior doesn't do any.
Speaking of damage, Pantheon continues to wreck Steam. We are, again, another week. We have a new concurrent high. We are up to 6908. That is the new concurrent high of people playing on Steam.
That's so excellent. It's about to top over 7,000. That's going to be great. Every time I log in, I see all those servers in the red. Like, they are just as populated as it can get. I wonder if they're going to stay with this whole 500 account thing, or if they've got the ability to go larger. It's tough to say, but you'd think you'd want more than just 500 people playing on one server.
Joppa has said that they can go up to 2,500, 3,000. That's not a problem. It's not server architecture or hardware that's the issue. The problem is they don't have enough content.
Oh, sure.
And starting areas and, places for people to go. Like, you can't have more than 500 people on a server. Otherwise, nothing's going to be alive at any moment of time, right?
Fair.
Because it's just too many people.
Other than Wild's End, because everything's alive over there. No one hunts over there.
Very true. Go to Wild's End, check it out. It's a great place.
It's super fun.
I would do it again. I have done that starting experience many times, and I would do the Wild's End one again for sure.
Thronefast is more polished. There's more quests over there. There's better places to go. It's more fleshed out, and that's just because it's the longest zone. Like, it's been around for years, whereas Wild's End has not had that yet. So, when we've been playing the same thing for 3 years straight, it gets a little boring. So I can see it as we are with being VIPs. Wild's End is way better because it's something new. It's something we haven't explored. We don't know where all the best experiences, well, we kind of do now, but for us, it's just not Thronefast. And that's the best part of it. But if I were brand new, I totally understand starting in Thronefast because it has a very specific progression where you can go. You got the bandit camp right next to it. You got the skeleton camp right next to it. And then, a couple different places you can go to the boars and the spiders for that level. So it's a little more fleshed out than say Wild's End, but I do agree with you. I don't want to start in Thronefast ever again.
For sure. Way more polished in Thronefast, and like everybody knows that leveling path through Thronefast, whereas Wild's End is still new and maybe not as new, but people are figuring it out. I mean, for Wild's End, I really loved that ruin, the goblin ruins, the Gildasi ruins. That was, I loved the makeup of it, and I loved the size of it. So one of my complaints with Manor was just not enough groups there. Like, that ruins felt like it could support a lot of groups. But
Manor is 3 max for sure, but those Gildasi ruins were like, I don't know, 10 groups.
Oh, I would think
easy.
So, yeah.
It was insane. There's so many goblins there. It's crazy. And I think we've talked about this on prior episodes, but I'm sure VR expected a lot of people to start in Wild's End, and then no one did. It was crazy. I'm so glad we did, because we didn't have to deal with like 1,000 groups taking the spawns. Like, I'm sure every other server and everyone that started at the Thronefast did. I bet that was miserable. So I'm glad we were fine. But yeah, definitely go check out Wild's End if you haven't. It's a little rough, and Joppa said it's supposed to be a little rough. It's the wild, right? But it does need a little more polishing, so I get that too. But yeah, I spread it out a bit. Now we got ports. Go over there. It's fun. For
sure. Ports will help.
MMO players are kind of a funny bunch because they always say they want to explore. They want new areas. They want the excitement of seeing new things. But then when it comes down to it, if they have a choice of leveling faster or seeing new things, they almost always choose leveling faster first. Speaking of which, I didn't even put this on our thing, but we should put it on our thing, or we should at least talk about it. Yeah. The first level 40 character, which is the max level you can get to in early access, made it to level 40. Apparently played like 20 hours a day since the launch of EA.
That's a lot of hours to spend.
Yeah. But that's what Joppa wanted, right?
Yeah,
like, he wanted it. He said, yeah, you could do it in 3 weeks, but you're going to be, just doing nothing but Pantheon for 3 weeks straight, right? And he was true to his word.
Kuros is the name. Khuros.
Congratulations.
Congrats to that guy.
I wonder, is he just doing it by himself? Is anyone else even close to him?
Not from what it sounded like when Joppa mentioned it. It sounded like he was like quite a ways away from whoever was next. He didn't go into specifics and say the next closest person is 34, but that's the impression I got, was he was quite a ways ahead of anyone else.
So he's not grouping with anyone. What are you soloing at level 35?
I don't know, man.
That's gotta crazy.
Be rough. Congratulations for not having a life and probably not being married.
And abilities. When you say you're someone, I'll come in, friends for me. Hey, Joppa, I hope you words were pure gold. My broken heart is my fault. So now I carry around an extra shaker of salt. Hey, hey, Joppa.
All right, we got a lot to talk about this week. Most of the episode will be Joppa Says because Joppa went into the Druid this week. So we got a lot of exciting stuff. We do have some non-Druid stuff to talk about. I know.
Nope, none of that here. Only Druid.
All Druid, all the time.
All Druids all the time. He did do, let's see, we had 11 hours of streaming over 3 streams this week. So in 2025, Joppa is still going strong, still doing 3 streams a week at 3.5, 4 hours each. So
this main Druid stream, he had over 1,000 people. He usually only has somewhere between like 400, maybe 800 at most, but it was constant over 1,000 the entire time he was talking about Druid. Clearly, people are chomping at the bits for Druid, including Vindini. He's on bated breath watching every second
just
of those Joppa
salivating right now, just waiting for the Druid.
Well, before we get to Druid, just because it's first on my list, Joppa talked a little bit about arrows. Arrows are now working for Rangers. So, and Warriors, I guess, too, can use bows, right?
Yeah.
Short bows?
Yep. Little short bows.
So you can get an arrow and you put it in your arrow slot. It's not like other MMOs that shall remain nameless, where you have to craft 10,000 or 50,000 or 100,000 arrows, and every time you use an arrow, it minuses 1. No, one arrow in the slot, and it increases your bow damage. Are you guys
really bad for fletchers? Like you're not adding anything to fletching, because that was the best part of that nameless game, is that you had to go out and constantly buy arrows, so it kept fletchers in business. Where if you only need one arrow, this is what EverQuest ran into, because in Plains of Power they introduced Rangers to Infinite Quiver. Everyone else had to buy arrows, but Rangers didn't. They only just needed the one. And so I just feel like that's...
I mean, I made a lot of arrows in EQ2. Is that still a thing in EQ2? Do you need multiple?
Yep.
Okay.
There's no endless quiver in EQ2. I guess I don't know for the Ranger, because no one plays Rangers. They're the most worthless EverQuest 2 class. But
shots fired.
Yeah,
but do you really want to sit around and make arrows? Like,
as a fletcher, why would go into fletching?
I mean, you don't go into fletching unless you need to use arrows. Like, it's boring. It's so boring.
So no one goes into fletching. We just use this crafting for nothing. We just make it crafting for nothing.
It's like everything else. Because you're not just making arrows. You're making bows. You're making staffs. You're making all the other things.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they'll be able to make special arrows that only last for a certain time. I'm not sure. I think you have to add something there. I think you need to be able to make some kind of arrow, but
like a food buff, right? It's an extra food buff, right?
Sure.
Okay, my arrow lasts for an hour.
That's all right.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, VR, if you're listening, we have solved the arrow issue. You are welcome.
I hope someone is writing this down.
One change that I super love, I really enjoy this, because I like clicking on everybody else's loot, is after a period of time, if someone's killed a mob and left loot on it and left it lying on the ground, now after a period of 2 minutes, you can click on the body of the mob and either loot whatever's left, or you can skin it. So I'm really excited about this. Are you guys excited?
Filthy vulture.
I am very excited as a leather worker, because so many times you go through AVP and see just a pile of dead animals and you can't skin them. Now you can. I love it. Great idea.
But it takes 4 minutes. You got to wait 4 minutes. Ugh.
Yeah, well, hopefully you time it just right and you are there at the 4-minute mark and just hit the trail of dead bodies. And
is it 2 or 4?
I think it's 4.
I'm pretty sure it's 4. I thought I read somewhere.
Well, I'm sorry. I think I said 2 earlier. 4 minutes then. Joppa, and this, you can tell me which bin this goes in, but Joppa is also considering adding Ratkin as a playable race. Now, I know that chat and the Discord and the forums have been calling for Ratkin forever, and the answer has always been no, that's not happening. We're sticking with what we got, and you just need to go away. But Joppa actually said we are considering adding Ratkin as a race. Are you excited about that?
As someone that plays Ratanga on EverQuest 2, I am very excited. I love the rat race, but then we got to start bringing in the cat race and the lizard race and all these other things too. We can't just only do rats. We need more than one animal class or one animal race.
Funny that you mentioned the cat race, because he showed off some models of what the wild bloods are actually supposed to look like, and they're kind of like cat people.
Whoa, don't be spoiling stuff. Don't get ahead. Don't get
Oh
ahead.
God, I'm sorry. Is that in there? I'm sorry.
I don't think it's in there.
Anyways,
That's like next
Radkin,
week's stuff.
way down the list. Way down the list for me, Radkin. Worry about 300,000 other things before we worry about
So
Radkin
many
as a
more
playable
things.
race.
People
Yeah.
just
How about Arkai? How about
Yeah.
no?
Sure, let's worry
Yeah.
about the original races before you start adding more in.
the
for
ones
sure.
that have lore written about them, not the ones that people just want.
Yeah, I don't know. I as a person who doesn't have their race in the game, I don't like hearing that there's going to be even more races that could possibly move to the front of the line. I could get Druided here. Like I could think that mine
You mean
race
Necrode?
is next, and then all of a sudden, they just switch to something else.
Word. Been there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Radkin way down the list. First expansion, I don't know. I wouldn't be worrying about Radkin at this point in the game, but
Kunark added the lizard people, right? Like let's maybe wait for an expansion. Let's finish the game before we just start adding on stuff.
that's
Like
a heck of an
Indini said,
idea. Heck of an
There's
idea.
so many things to do. There's not a single class that is done. Not one. They're all lacking. We need to figure that out before we just start adding races. Even though it's probably easier to add a race, but where's the lore? Where's the lore behind the Ratkin? We've got some huts in AVP that house a couple Ratkin models, but JN has not written anything about a Ratkin. Not one. Someone call Theric. Can we get?
Hold on, I'll yell across the backyard here. Quick.
Yeah, that'd be great. Can we get some Ratkin lore? We don't have that. So let's finish the game first and then talk about adding things in. We don't got Ratkin time. As much as I want it. I love Ratkin.
All right. Well, I suppose we should probably get to the meat of this episode and Vindini's favorite part. We actually have a Druid in game, or at least on Joppa's master server. We have a Druid. Everybody was excited about this stream. Everybody was talking about it. They were over the moon. As you said, it was over 1,000 people. It was nuts. People are psyched. I think more than half our guild is going to be me and Dymlos and Druids. Like,
I think you're probably right. Although I might start a Druid. I like healing. Remember I played a cleric a while back?
You have played a Druid a while back.
Yeah, I mean, that was the original class.
That was
Druid.
the original class. Well, Joppa describes the Druids as mobile healers, also indirect healers, AoE healers, with lots of instant casts, very mobile, and, quote, very different. What do you think about that description for Druids?
Expert?
It's a heck of a description. Heck of a description. I just can't wait till they replace wizards in that DPS chart that we saw.
Whoa!
As the nature wizard.
No, you
It'd be
will
like
never
nature wizard.
never
normal
replace
boring wizard.
That's what they will call it. It will be nature wizard and boring wizard.
Yep, for sure. I'm trying to get that in the game. Actually, it's going to be nature wizard or normal boring wizard.
That's hilarious.
I'm not going to make it through this episode. I'm
No.
going to have a heart attack and keel over. But
he would be ripping his hair out, except he doesn't have any.
it's kind of true.
It's true.
I'll rip the ponytail out right now. Never mind.
It's gone. It's gone.
The Druid also has a helper, a secondary pet-like thing, but it's not exactly a pet. It's called Herode. It's not targetable. It's not killable. It is a, quote, extension of the Druid. And also makes your Druid very mobile. Because Herode can cast heal spells while moving. Herode does not follow any rules of like player characters, right? So you can run around and Herode will just throw little heals out there, and you can run around and Herodial buff, or you can run around and Herodial snare something. And like, there's all kinds of stuff this little fox or bear, if you're an ogre, can do.
We think bear. That's what he was talking about last, but we're not sure 100% on what the ogres will be. He did say maybe a bear, but as long as it's just a little tiny bear, I don't want a big bear.
Or a tiny baby bear.
A little tiny baby bear, just a little cub. I think this is what's going to separate the men from the boys. However you want to put that statement is how you use that pet, because I think that's going to be your mobility. That they have so many skills that are supposed to amplify the druid skills, and we haven't even seen all the skills. So I think druid is going to be hard to play well, and I think some people are going to wash out kind of quick. But that's just
go back to shaman.
Yeah,
I can't handle it. Let me go
Easy
back to
mode
shaman.
I want all my buffs. I want them now.
Yeah. Well, or cleric.
Or cleric. I mean, I also have a cleric, and I've been pleasantly surprised by the cleric. I think the cleric is the best pure healer right
by far.
So,
I mean, I've been saying that for months now. It's so good and so easy.
To do the same amount of healing, or it's a lot harder on the shaman. Like, you have to be on your game, I think. But.
Oh, for sure. Newbies beware. If you are a shaman and you are going into a dungeon and solo healing, you might be in trouble. It's not easy. Vindini skillfully plays the shaman because he's played a healer for so long. He knows exactly what it takes to keep people alive. But with cleric, you just hit that bubble and call it good.
Oh man,
like you don't even need to really do anything. And then once you get your one little tiny hot, it changes everything. You don't have to even worry about man anymore. The cleric can just go on forever, just bubbling and hotting. It's easy.
It's easy pretty mode. Good. It's pretty good. Interested to see how the druid fits into the synergy with the other two from what we've seen. The healing looks good. I'm not sure from what I've seen on stream if it's enough. Like, is it at least seems like a lot of smaller heals that kind of add up to be big heals. So we'll see. I need to get my hands on it to really judge. But
well, that's kind of how you play the shaman right now. It's a lot of little heals with the one, oh shit.
The hurry the pass button. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So it kind of is very similar to what I think would be what a shaman does. You're going to get. Well, you might not get any hots, but if you're getting...
Well, the tree is a hot. So the tree is a hot, basically.
Oh, well, then you're good. You're good to go.
I think it just doesn't... It's not as big a ticks, right? So we'll see. I'm excited. Hopefully the next couple of weeks. So.
Well, I'm sure there'll be buffs that make that bigger, and, synergy with other group members that'll make that better. So.
Well, I think that's supposed to be the Druids thing, too, is they're going to have more powerful single target buffs, but I could only put one buff on Dymlos, one buff on Draq. I couldn't stack up all my buffs on them, but they're supposed to be like, I could give you 10 strength instead of 5. I'm just spitballing. I don't know what the actual numbers will be or anything.
It sounds like fun. It does sound very different. I'm very excited to see what you do with it.
The mobility of it, I think, is the most appealing. So I'm excited to get my hands on it.
Well, when you're bored healing, you can always take a break because Joppa says you get to, quote, flex into DPS, and you will be, quote, a mini arcane wizard, unquote.
Just play the damn game has rolled over in his grave when you say the word flex.
It's so awful.
I love it.
And also, you get bonus damage for different weather types. So if you're in the example that Joppa gave was that if you're in a storm, if storm is the weather, then your lightning spells do more damage.
Just plain cool. I love it. And I think eventually you're supposed to be able to, I don't know if that's going to be one of the master skills or whatever, but you're supposed to be able to adapt that so you can use it inside as well so that you can always get the bonus from a storm. So excited for that. I like the lightning. The damage seemed really nice. Can't wait.
Lightning in a bottle.
Are you going to flex into DPS, Vindini?
All the time. I'm going to get a parser and I'm going to put it up in chat and show Draq that I am better than him at healing and damage.
He's going to heal and damage. He'll be like, what up, Draq? Like,
what are you doing?
Boring wizard, just get out.
Regular
boring wizard.
Boring wizard. No one's going to play that,
Can't
even
wait.
for ports, because the Druid's going to be able to port too.
Oh my god! it's
Really, you're just
glorious.
done.
My ports
Drac.
better be better than
Yeah,
the Druid
you know
ports.
they're
That's
not.
what I was saying about that.
You know they're not.
I know.
Glorious! It's gonna be glorious.
I got like 2 months of time where I was the king porter, and now it's just over. Now
Yep,
it's just done.
you're done.
Yeah.
I'm sure at the beginning they'll be at the same places, but then eventually they'll have their own thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think we know one of the port locations in AVP. I think it's going to be where the elk or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But
Druids are also going to be friendly with animals. And
Shocker.
so animals are not going to attack you. So things like bears, the wolves, snakes, all those things are not going to attack you. You have the ability to attack it and get experience. So you're just going to be able to go up, whack wolves over and over, and never you're not going to receive a faction hit or anything. It's just all nature is going to love you. It seems pretty OP. What do you guys think?
I mean, super great for traveling around. So I don't know what you're talking about, OP. This sounds amazing and right on point for me. So
Sorry, squishy, normal, boring wizards.
You know what? The first thing I thought about was gathering. This is an amazing
I never thought of
gathering
that.
tool.
Yep.
Like
right.
not being bothered by animals as you're gathering. Are you kidding me?
And they port.
I mean, even making the run. I mean, there's ports in the game now, but making the run from Wild's End to Thronefast or the other way, a huge advantage right there.
What percentage of the enemies that we face would you consider to be animals?
It's tough to say because
40, 50%. If
I know you said
spider
snakes.
an animal,
I don't think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't call a spider an animal.
I also don't think it should be snakes either. Like Druids.
I don't know if it is snakes. All I heard him say was wolves, cats, and bears.
Oh my!
I thought he said animals.
I mean, is a snake an animal? I guess.
I think it is in the animal kingdom. Yes, I think snakes are animals.
I mean,
Sure.
I wouldn't classify it in the same. It's not like a mammal. It's a reptile, right?
Reptile,
to me,
yeah.
I get it. It's an animal, but I don't put them in the same category, right?
Phylum, is that the scientific word? I can't remember. Did I just sound smart? Or
You
I'm
did,
really
like,
dumb?
whoa.
Yeah.
Jaw dropped right here.
Yeah, right.
We just have to shut the podcast down
Yep.
now. I think it's over.
Mic drop.
It might
right
not
there.
even be right. I have no
Mic
idea.
drop.
Maybe that's flowers. I have no idea. But there is a scientific word for that. I just don't remember what it is.
Draq could be right, but I remember him saying cats, bears, and wolves.
So just kind of like fluffy,
Cute animals, yeah.
cute animals, so like rabbits and
Mammals.
and wolves and dogs and bears and that type of stuff.
All those things. Maybe boars, they're already not aggros.
Yeah, they don't aggro anyway. But all right, well that's a little less than.
Well, I mean, right now, if you don't already know, shaman have an affinity with wolves, so they don't aggro wolves, and rangers have an affinity with bears, so bears don't aggro rangers.
I feel like if they're rabid, though, they should attack everybody.
They should be out for blood, right? They're out. They
Yeah.
don't care who you
They're
are.
rabid.
Yeah, word.
I love it. Joppa talked a little bit about Druid energy, which is nature energy, and has a green flame.
Ooh.
Are you excited about the green fireball, Vindini?
I mean, back up 1 second. Did you talk about being able to charm animals too? That's the first time I've heard.
He does this
that.
all the time.
Oh,
He skips
that's the
where
first-
he wants to
skipped it.
go.
Yeah,
That is
no.
the first time I heard about being able to charm. with
Yes.
the Druid,
Joppa
so.
said charm animals. That will be in the game. That will be a thing that Druids do.
Excited. I'm
Such a
even better
broken
now.
class.
Now I have a
This
pet.
is the most broken
I have
class
a
ever.
pet. I have a wicked lightning bolt. I can heal. Man, I win the game now.
You definitely win the game.
I mean, this is all still a little bit speculative.
Bye bye,
so-
boring nature or
Yeah.
boring regular wizard.
Later.
Everyone's a druid.
I want the animal charming wizard.
Yeah, right.
I don't
Can
think
you
you're getting-
imagine? Can you imagine the animal charming wizard, or the animal charming druid over in Eastern Plains,
Oh, it's over.
like killing all that stuff? That would be so powerful.
I mean, yet to be seen. Lots to learn about
Sure.
what the animal charm is going to be like. Maybe it only lasts for 2 minutes. I have no idea. Maybe it knocks the power down. Maybe you can only do blues. No idea.
You know what would be more hilarious is if Animal Charm was in before regular
Before
encounter
actual charm.
Oh no. Gulo might not speak to you after that.
Oh,
People
that
would be
hilarious.
raging.
Oh, that'd be so
Oh
funny.
boy. Crazy.
Well, and then Joppa got into the weeds, like deep. We're deep diving into the Druid, and he talked about what he called the Verdant Shield, and this is your bread and butter, tried and true staple as a Druid. This is your main heal, the Verdant Shield, and what it does is it shields the person, and then when the shield is used up, the shield breaks, and then it heals the person after the shield breaks.
I believe it is actually a seed. It is a verdant fire seed.
Oh, Verdant Fire
And
Seed.
you plant your seed deep within somebody, and then it shields them. It shields them, and then blooms deep within them, and heals them for a portion of the damage taken. I believe is how it works.
I feel like you need some sexy time music playing in the background as you.
maybe.
Wow, wow, wow.
And the Great Vindini himself asked this question in Joppa's chat because at one time this was rumored to have a mana return portion. He said it will still have that, but with mastery. So, little tidbit if you weren't paying attention.
So, what do you get the mana return if they don't use the heal part? Is that what the mana return's for, or how? What's the mana return?
I mean, at one time you used to get a portion of the heal. Also, used to give you a little bit of mana back. How much it was actually like, I don't think anyone ever knew. I guess we did briefly see the Druid 1 million years ago. I don't remember how much mana it gave back then, but it was a very short stint. But anyways, yeah. So that was at one time I think supposed to be like your mana regen part. I'm sure they'll get some sort of skill like the shaman and cleric have to get a little bit of mana back. We don't know. A few people have asked in his chat about mana regen for the Druid, and he hasn't really said much. And that's actually when I asked that question, and he said, yes, you'll get some back with mastery. So that's what I know.
Broken class. This class is so broken.
You can only have one seed active on a like I can't like stack 50 seeds on top of you. I have to wait. Kind of like the cleric shield, that debuff that you would get where you couldn't like reshield them for 10 seconds or something like that. Right. That makes I think something to that effect. But
cooldown.
Right, a cooldown, some sort of cooldown, yeah, for sure.
All right, so the charming,
sounds super cool. Sounds super
cool. The charming, animal charming wizard with epic lightning nukes that heals and shields and also runs fast.
I mean, where do I sign? Where do I sign?
Right.
Kind of sounds broken.
And has a sweet mobile pet fox thing that can't die. And
super awesome wizard versus super boring wizard.
And can't be stunned. You as the Druid, because the fox can't be stunned, it can't be interrupted, it can't even be targeted. Your Druid healers are the only healers that have a guaranteed heal that will go off because they can't be stunned.
I mean, right now,
so broken.
From what I've seen on stream, it is like a little baby ranger heal, whatever. The fickle tickle. It's like it's not a very big heal that the fox gives you. So
still something.
It's something you can use when you're stunned or
17 hit points is 17 hit points
for sure, man. And we don't know what modifies that. Is it wisdom? Is it int? We don't know. We'll see.
It's going to be crazy.
Well, if that wasn't enough, Druids are also going to control the weather sometime in the future, and it's going to be within reason. How do you feel like a Druid, high-level Druid, showing up in your zone and making it storm and rain, Dymlos?
I think that's cool. When I think of this, I think of like cartoons where the little tiny one-person cloud follows him around and puts rain on him. I feel like that's how it should be. It should just be griefing one person.
Griefing one person, yeah.
How about you, Vin? Do you want to control all the weather?
I mean, I think that he mentioned that he didn't want it to be too crazy. Like, I don't know if this is not the big thing for me, controlling the weather. It's a cool thing. Like EQ2 had those little fun spells where you could, drop rocks on people or whatever, similar to your rain cloud idea. So I actually like your idea. That's actually a cool little idea. Maybe a little lightning bolt shoots out of it and knocks you down or something. But
that'd be good.
mean, controlling the weather, I would leave it as future, as it says. I'm not. That's a down the road. That's with Ratkin. Put the controlling the weather in.
Yeah, right.
About Ratkin.
I mean, with an EQ1, they had that when
Right, you could
Cunard came
change.
out.
Yeah,
And that
I
was
think-
cool, but
I
it burned something like a stone or something pretty rare or something pretty expensive to
right.
be able to do that.
I
And
think Joppa's talking more locally. Like, I don't think he wants you to be able to like control the weather in an entire zone, but remains to be seen.
well, there aren't zones, right?
True,
So it would
it is
have to
zoneless, so
be-
I could do it in the whole world. Oh my god!
Yeah,
this-
you completely change all the weather of
God.
all the world.
No one is ever playing a normal wizard again.
It's so boring.
So boring.
This boring
I
normal
Can't
wizard.
even,
I
can't even
hate
do
you
cool
all.
stuff.
The next
But
bit
wait, there's more.
there's
still
more. There's still more. This is kind of just the standard list of druid skills. I feel like the druid out the gate is going to have way more stuff than the cleric has ever had. Like,
Poor cleric.
all these skills are like really like a lot.
Not
So
only
I'm
did it have to steal half the paladins, the druid has way more than it already.
Indeed. So we got snares, we got dots, we got fire spells, we have swim speed and also underwater breathing. Joppa said the druid is going to be the master of underwater, and you will need a druid to get to the depths of the well pond and explore that fully.
I'm glad you're playing druid because we're going.
We are so going. Something else to mention about the snare is I believe it also heals people that hit it. So, like I said before, lots of small heals that I think are supposed to add up to sustain the group. So, cool little idea. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Only I think you get one dot, not the same width and breadth as the shaman has, but still cool to have a dot. The thing that I learned from this was I didn't realize there had been so much shape shifting planned for the druid. I had never read that anywhere. I had never heard any hints about that. But Joppa has a lot of forms planned for the druid. He has a tree form. He has the wolf form, I believe, where he can run possibly faster than your sow. So that is something I learned from this.
The dolphin or whatever.
I think it's going to be something he wasn't sure what to pick yet, but. Right, so the underwater guy and a
It'll be a
damage shield
penguin.
too. Interesting to see if the damage shield from the druid stacks with the damage shield from the summoner, or if one overwrites the other. So
What about the
excited.
wizard damage shield? I'm just chopped liver now? Like, I don't
Yeah,
even,
I
doesn't
mean-
my damage shield
I mean,
not
I
even
feel
good
like
anymore?
we've covered it. If you want me to keep beating this dead horse, for sure.
You
That's
got
just-
spells that kill you. That's your
That's your thing. That's
your
your thing
boring
now.
normal wizard.
That's your thing now. Hey, you want to kill yourself? Be a
They
wizard.
get
You can just
damage
die from
shields, they
doing
get run
damage.
speed, they get swim speed, they get snares and dots.
You
and-
have Draq rocks.
Draq
Get
rock.
out.
Hey, yeah,
you
I
have the
don't-
greatest utility spell in the
that
game.
is, I will still need a Draq rock for sure.
I'm so happy about this.
and Spirit of the Wolf, or whatever it's going to be called. I think that's what it's called right now. Excited for just a regular run speed buff, just a
Yeah.
straight run speed buff. He did also talk about shamans possibly getting Spirit of the Wolf. I think shamans should stay in the Windstrider lane. Druids go in the Sow lane. and
Oh,
then
you don't
bards
want
get
people
a-
touching your sow, huh? Okay.
I mean, I don't know. You already have Windstrider. I mean, I liked Windstrider. It's a
yeah,
good.
Windstrider is great. You just have to be proactive about it. And I don't know if you've ever had to travel with Draq before, but that guy doesn't know how to hold down the shift button for anything.
So
Listen here,
he's more of a
listen
Sow
here.
fan than a Windstrider.
Yeah,
I am definitely Spirit of the Wolf guy. I definitely want just
And
the raw movement speed.
The cool thing about Spirit of the Wolf is it's supposed to grow as you grow. So I don't know exactly what level you're supposed to get it at. Say you get it at 10, but as you level to 50, it's supposed to get faster. So if
I
it
think that
starts
happened
at,
in EQ as well.
did it also? Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure.
But yeah, he didn't give like a percentage. He just kind of showed off. Here's what it looks like at level 20, and now I'm level 50. It's this much faster. So it was more of a feel thing. I don't know what the exact percentages are, but
Probably your run speed will have a heal on it. Your every time you change the weather, it'll have a heal on it.
Every time
Anytime
you attack a mob with snare, it'll increase your run speed. It's
just
gonna be
everything
fun.
heals. Everything heals all the time.
when you charm an animal,
I
it'll
love it.
heal.
It'll start healing along
Yeah.
with the fox healing. Oh my god, this is great. I don't even know if I need you guys anymore.
Well,
No, you're your own group.
if that wasn't enough, you also have as we talked a little bit before, the Verdant Tree, which summons this kind of illuminated green tree in a it's like a totem. You put it down, and then everyone around the totem
Oh, you said the magic T word. I'm playing a druid now.
gets healing. So more healing upon more healing upon more healing.
And at one time, I believe it was supposed to be the closer you are to the center of the tree, the more healing you get. I don't know if it works like that right now. I think that Herode has skills to amplify, or actually, no, I remember what it is. Your seed heals for more if you have a tree active. So a lot of cool things. I like the way all these like puzzle pieces fit together. It's exciting, really.
I see as soon as Druid comes out, it's going to be the most popular class for about 4 days. And then everyone's going to be back to Shaman or Cleric.
I mean, I think it's like I said before. I think it's going
This
to
is
be a
too
hard
hard.
class. Yeah, it's going to be
too
a hard
hard.
class to play well because I think they have a lot of moving parts. So, I mean, it'll be cool as a buff bot probably, and to have Sal. But I think healing wise,
Yeah, that's
I
about
think
it.
it's going to be hard to be a good Druid healer. So
Might as well just have a Bard,
might as well. Hopefully, one day.
but not before Druid.
We're thinking of you, Mr. C.
All right.
Not
Well,
before Druid.
I feel like I got most of Joppa's stuff. Is there anything else, Vindini? Because I know you've scoured this VOD like 100 times already.
At least.
So tell us, what did I miss? Is there anything important that I left out?
Just the shape-shifting part was the part that, again, it was a surprise for me, and I think a lot of people. He really emphasized that he's not looking for a WoW type shape-shifting experience. Just more of like the tree form is supposed to help you with HP regen, and he said it might grow into a mana regen as well. Your wolf form to help you travel fast, but I believe it's just for you to travel fast. And then, like you said, this aquatic form, and I'm not sure if he has other forms planned, but that was something I had never ever heard them talk about before. So that was the real eye opener for me.
When we all get to go tame mounts, can I tame a Druid?
Maybe
Is that
if
a
you
thing?
could tame a wolf Druid.
Yeah.
Oh, he did. He also talked about having different, like your wolf form might be different for whatever race you are. So a human might be a red wolf, and a elf might be a purple wolf, and so on and so forth.
Ooh,
so
purple wolf.
just so something to differentiate. That's actually what he's running around in the streams. He is a purple wolf. So
interesting. Different than the current wolves?
Same look. It's just a different color.
Gotcha.
I don't know if you've seen the new wolves in the orc area. They're kind of more of a red wolf than in Throne Fast, where it's more of a gray wolf, I guess.
Interesting.
Should be cool. I don't know. Excited.
Onward and upward.
Word.
All right, Druid over. No longer talking about any more Druid stuff.
Well, we're certainly not talking about the regular boring wizard, that's for sure.
Are those still in the game even?
I don't even know. I've never seen anyone play one.
After Druid launches, I'm sure I'm going to be one of 3 wizards. So
you and Yillidan and some other idiot.
Yes, kind of true. We're going to be the only ones left.
Like, actually, we're looking for another Druid, so we can't take you, Draq.
Yep. But speaking of classes that no one's going to play after the Druid launches, Joppa talked a little bit about the Cleric and how, as he was adding all these skills to Druids, he felt like maybe the Cleric needed a little love.
Maybe. They do nothing but heal. They're the best at it. Don't get me wrong. Just like we were talking about earlier, they are so unbelievably good at healing. If anyone dies in a Cleric's group, that's the worst Cleric ever. I mean, it's just so easy. Unless you're like fighting reds where it's stupid and you shouldn't be there, the Cleric should have no issue keeping the group alive.
That bubble just buys you so much
it's so
time.
good. It's so good.
Well, Joppa wants to lean back into the Battle Priest mantra.
So we took it away and we're back, and then we leave it again. They kind of took it away.
They kind of went to like, oh, clerics have to be back of the line healers, and now it's back. I am super excited about Battle Cleric. I love the idea of Battle Cleric. Let's go. Raise your maces, get your shields on, frontline Battle Cleric healers. I'm there. I'm
all for that.
So
if you remember when we started Pantheon, this is what I wanted to play, but now it's just not looking like that's what I want. I want tanky.
In a similar sentiment to what you guys were saying about how much stuff the Druid has, Joppa was quick to reassure chat that that cleric is his main, and he's definitely going to give the cleric some love. So he's like, don't fret, believe in me, I will make the cleric awesome. Again, my time on the cleric, I've had fun on the cleric.
It's
but
good.
I have played so much shaman. I guess it's just nice to see a different view of healing, I guess, and just an appreciation. I have developed a deeper appreciation for cleric, and actually their nuke, that sensor or whatever it is, it's a pretty decent nuke. Actually, you can solo within your lane. Like, let's not get carried away, but I don't know, I'm having fun with my cleric too. So.
Yeah,
that's very
for sure.
exciting.
I think
to
it's
hear.
harder to solo as a cleric, which is why I think there's so much less clerics than really any other class. I think it's the least played class right now. So,
just too bad. It's so good. It's so unbelievably strong.
It is good. Give it a try.
It just does nothing else. That's its problem. It's one lane, and that's it. You do nothing else.
Right now, till Druid comes in, Shaman is the sexy thing because you just get all those buffs. It's hard to give up on those buffs that you get from Shaman. It is.
For sure.
You just get a lot. It brings a lot to the group. If you want safe, like, I think cleric's the way to go. Like, if you like, oh, I got a cleric in the group, I know things are going to be safe. Damage isn't going to be so spiky. If you have a shaman, there's going to be times where you're like, holy shit, is this guy going to heal me or what? Because I have like 2 hit points left, and then your shaman is going, oh my god, get that heal out, get that heal. But anyways, I've been there.
We were there last night. It happens. Yep.
Been there.
That's why I have my own oh shit button. So it's fine. Buys you a little more time.
That bubble is just so good, though. I don't know. That's
unbelievably
a great
good.
spot. If you like healing, I think you also owe it to yourself to play cleric.
It's the best.
try it once. If I ever make an alt, it's going to be a cleric.
I doubt that.
Yeah, I do too. But, Dymlos, I know this is going to make you sad, even though you're not playing an enchanter, because I know that you had a fondness for EQ1 enchanter pets.
Enchanter pet was so fun. I know it was worthless. It was worthless. Other than level 4, where you could use it as kind of a tank, it eventually became worthless. Eventually, when you got into like your 60s and 70s, they added like double swords, and you could dual wield that thing, so it was just extra damage, but it was never, a tank ever again. It was just a little extra damage that you got. It's fine. They do a lot of stuff already. The enchanter has a lot of tools in its kit, and especially when it gets charm, it's just going to be like the druid, very broken.
You didn't even let me finish my sentence, because I was going to say that in Pantheon, no regular pet for the enchanter. It's charm only. So that's going to be the only pet you ever get. So as Dymlos alluded to, no little invisible dude running around that you can't really control, which I thought was kind of wonky. So I'm totally
it was fun. It was fun. Because you had to, like, if you were in a group, especially to get that thing working, you had to pull just enough aggro for it to hit you once, and then enough so that the tank could pull it back on in them.
Because you couldn't actually control it, right? You had to get hit or something, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yep. So if they weren't AoEing you, then you had to, like, get that first hit and then have the tank pull it back off of you. So that was fun. Like, you throw a huge debuff in it, you piss it off, comes, hits you a couple times. Hopefully you survive it, and then hopefully the tank is able to pull it off you. It's a fun little game.
That's what every tank within the game. That's what every tank wants, is his cloth casters pulling aggro off them, so their pet can attack. That does no damage. Also,
this coming from the wizard. Yeah.
Listen, let's move on.
Please, let's move on.
Also, Joppa said that enchanters are going to get dispels. So negative spells that are on your party members, the enchanter is going to dispel. This was a huge thing in EverQuest.
Yeah.
And the fact that enchanters are getting it, I think this is really going to up their group value a lot.
If it's not already at maximum, it's the most underrated class in the game, next to cleric. Hopefully it's not like, remember EQ1 dispel before you were in your 60s and 70s, where the first couple buffs,
where it would get buffs and debuffs.
Yeah,
no,
whatever was on your list.
Are we past that?
I hope so. eventually EQ came around to it where, you had that specific debuff that would just only take out debuffs and not your buffs that you had. But yeah, hopefully they have good dispel and not EQ1 dispel.
I'm excited for the dispel. I hope it does things like wake you up from mez, because I really hate being mezzed.
Dots. I hope it takes out dots.
Yeah, something. We need something to combat that stuff. So I'm excited. I hope it works the way I think it's going to work. But again, remains to be seen.
Should be broken just like the Druid.
Hopefully it's broken like the Druid.
Oh my heck. I mean, why not just give Druids can be the other class that dispels?
Well, maybe they will.
Herode can dispel everything.
We
might
don't
as well
know.
just give him everything.
Joppa said we haven't seen the whole kit, so maybe there's some dispels in there.
Herode's healing, Herode's dispelling.
Yeah. Why not just put the dispel on Herode? So if the Druid gets mezzed, then he can unmez himself with the Herode dispel.
That could happen.
It's happening. That is already slated. Just Joppa's writing this down. He's listening to the rewind right now. He's like,
goodness.
damn, this is so good. Here we go.
I love this.
All right, we got to move on before.
We do not. This is the best. I love Druid episode. I knew you were going to lose it, and I'm so grateful for this episode.
All Druids, all the time.
All Druids, all the time.
Get ready for top 5 Druid classes. we got the Druid. We got the Bear Druid.
We got Pantheon Druid. We got Vanguard Druid. No, get out. Get all your Druids out. All right. Let's talk about stacking of items in Pantheon Rise of the Fallen and how horrible it is, because every time you loot an item or move it to your bank or buy a new item from the vendor, nothing freaking auto stacks, and it's so frustrating. So
they're working on it.
They are working on it. Joppa talked about how they're working on it, and then he talked about why we had to turn that off, because if you remember, we had this before, and this is one of your big complaints, right, Dymlos? Is that we had
Clover
something
came
that
in and
worked.
talked about this when it first happened, and he kind of like just shut it down because people were bitching about it, and it's just like you can either have your items not stack or you can not have items. It's that simple. Like they were disappearing. The bug made it go away. So Clover came in. This was a month and a half ago or so, came in and shut that down. And probably Joppa's fielding this question because for whatever reason, Joppa's chat is the most uninformed chat of all time and can't like find any information for themselves. So they have to just constantly ask Joppa the same question over and over again, rather than, I don't know, going and finding the information yourself, which is all out there. All of it's out there. But no, we have to waste Joppa's time and ask him the same question over and over again.
Hit the Google. Hit the Google out
hit the
there.
Google. Your question is already answered. I assure you. You do not need to waste the director's time who's trying to put the game together about asking the same questions over and over again. The information is out there. Listen to the rewind.
To be fair, he does get a lot of listeners, so new people.
Well,
true.
do they not know how to use Google?
That said, we are happy to have all the new people.
Yeah, I'm cutting all that out, so don't worry.
All right.
Actually, I always thought this was just a fun little mini game that they put in. You find the thing in your bank, and then you move that stack onto the other stack, and then like, oh wait, I got one too many. I got to start a new stack. It's fun.
As the person who's doing the provisioning, the food making, and the drink making, with 50 billion items, different things, it's awful. It's horrible.
Bro, try alchemy, bro.
Yeah, I know. All right. Joppa mentioned that there is 3 dungeons on the way. Not 1, not 2, but 3 dungeons. 2 in Eastern Plains, 1 in Silent Plains, with Black Rose Keep being the next zone/dungeon on the docket. We are so unbelievably excited about Black Rose Keep and can't wait for it. What do you guys think?
I'm fired up for BRK. I started in PA5, so I never actually got to play it, and they were only doing focus tests on it. I never actually made it in a few times. I think Minus shafted me a few times and took my spot, but I'm just going to blame him for that anyways.
He is one to be blamed.
Yeah, excited for Black Rose Keep. Don't know much about the other two dungeons. I think the one is going to be in Eastern Plains. I think he said where all those big stone heads are. I'm not sure about the location of the other one.
Yeah, I'm very excited for Black Rose Keep. That's the main reason why I wanted to play was that stream that went out. So that's what really bought me into it.
Well, I think it did that for a lot of people. Like it was. I mean, I love the design of it. Just watching those streams when they would go in there, and I don't know, you probably saw like 20 Black Rose Keep streams, but I just liked the way it was set up. So yeah,
it's probably the old graphics. I'm probably going to be super disappointed. It's going to look like a cartoon,
maybe, but
just kidding. It'll be great.
That's come a long way too. So,
yeah,
for sure.
You're right.
Well, it's going to be fun to explore anyway.
Draq, did you ever get to go in Black Rose Keep?
No, I never did. No? I was also PA 5, so. That was PA4 and before was Black Rose Keep. All right, last but not least, Joppa talked a lot about the game being group-focused, but not being a group-forced game. And that's why he's focusing on all these solo XP and the small group experience. And he is using EQ as his true north on this, where he feels you could solo and you could get a lot accomplished as a solo player, and you weren't forced to group, but group experience was the best experience.
Did Joppa play past 20? Do you in EverQuest? Where were you soloing? I guess if you could quad kite or do that, but like where were warriors soloing? EQ is the true north. There are a lot of classes that are in trouble.
Yeah, I feel like certain classes in EQ could solo, but like it was real before Kunark, wizards struggled soloing. Like because Root was not reliable enough, and you would die more often than you would get positive experience.
When did you get the? There was a snare. There was an AOE snare. I thought you got that at 46.
Yeah, that's Kunark.
Damn, I'm out of touch.
Yeah, 54 or something like that. Yeah,
that definitely changed everything for the wizard. For the regular boring wizard.
I feel like the regular boring one. I feel like we all play these games. I shouldn't say we all do, but I play this game to group. I want to hang out with my buddies. I want to go dungeon diving. I want to kill some shit. I want to get some loot. I get you need to have stuff to do when your buddies aren't on. I like the focus maybe on the trios and small groups. That's not bad. But I mean, I don't think EQ was ever designed for you to solo, right? That wasn't.
I don't think so either.
That wasn't the purpose of the game. That was you thought outside the box and you found ways to solo and you found ways to live off the little scraps and you demonstrated your skill by I can solo XYZ. Like I'm okay with that.
Right. I like that approach better. I like just develop the game for groups and whatever happens with the classes, whoever can solo the best, let the chips fall where they may and let people go to classes that are more solo friendly and then let there be group classes that are more group friendly. I don't really like the idea of developing solo content. I think it's a lose in the long run.
That's my issue with all the boxes right now too, right? This is supposed to be a game we're playing to group with other people, not to box. Like boxing to me is something where you're playing a game that's at the end of its life cycle, for lack of a better term, and nobody's out there. This should be the hot time to get into groups and find new people and meet new people. But I get it. Not everybody's super outgoing. I get that.
And if it's group focused, anytime you make solo content, you are taking the focus away from the group. Like it's not, they can't play nicely together. It's just, it is what it is. You can have a couple little things in there, but I just don't take away the focus from the group. And the people that want to solo, man, go play WoW. That game is built for solo.
Or they'll find ways. They'll just find ways to solo. People will eventually find ways to solo.
Absolutely. And if it takes them 100 years to get to level 50, so be it.
Yeah, I don't think we need to build solo content into the game, right? I think, as Vindini says, I think they will figure it out. And just let them do that. Let them engineer ways to solo. It's fine.
People are smart. Some people.
5.
Draq, I'm so disappointed in you.
4.
Luckily, every week I dominate this list and just destroy Dymlos.
3.
I thought you would just tuck your head between,
no
your
way.
cheeks.
No, my list is amazing.
It's not at all.
2.
Oh, already your list is the worst. Your list is the worst.
Well, since I'm already undefeated in 2025, I wanted to give myself a layup for the second week in a row. So this week we're going to do Draq's top 5 bottled waters, aka Draq's number 2 snacks.
Draq, if this is not the greatest list you've ever had, like all 5 of these better be top-notch water snacks, because if not, then you automatically lose. So this is, I think you've made this more difficult for yourself than you actually think, because you are supposed to be the water expert. This is your baby. So if you have anything on here that is absolute trash, I am coming after you and you lose.
We have officially hit rock bottom. We are talking about water.
Yeah.
Water.
I agree. This
We're
is a
talking
terrible
about water.
I can't believe that this is a top 5.
And the Patreons are fired up. There was even a mention of them unpatreoning if certain bottled waters were put on the list.
Oh, really?
yeah.
I can't wait to hear
they're a
that.
feisty bunch, which I appreciate. It takes a strong-willed person to be in our Patreon.
Dymlos has the chair and like the whip, and like he's like the circus master, keeping them at bay all the time. So
It's true. I'm the lion tamer.
the lion,
Water.
yes, the lion tamer.
We're
Excellent.
talking about
Yeah,
water.
this was Draq. This is regular boring wizard top 5, right?
Remember
Like,
when you remember Allen Iverson when he said, "We're talking about practice. We're
Yeah.
talking about water.
Yeah.
Water.
Not a game.
Not,
where I
not
give
the,
my heart
not
and
the
soul.
drink, not the drink that I love, but
Yeah.
water.
Water. Yeah. This is
All
exactly
right.
right.
Well, let's get into it. I'm excited about this list.
Of course you are. Well, let's hear your number 5 then, Draq.
Listen, as usual with top 5 lists, for me, like 5 and 4 are more like rather than like I'm super excited about it. Like, there's
Are you kidding?
There's definitely
Already?
There's definitely a hill, and like,
Ugh.
and after 3, it drops off big time. So
You are so bad at these top 5s. It's unbelievable.
So for
Water.
number 5, we have Smart Water. It's not horrible. If it's in a cooler with some ice, I'll drink it. But it's not what I reach for. But it's not horrible, and it's not like Arrowhead water. Like, that's just like, I'm not even drinking it. I can't stand it. Like, get out. But
I've never even heard of the Arrowhead before, so when they were talking about it on the
Yeah.
Patreon, it's hilarious.
yeah, that's the ones the Patreons are real upset about. But no, and I don't like it either. It's got a real weird taste to it. But yeah, Smart Water's doable, but not my favorite. So number 5, Smart.
I don't like additives. Like, if you're adding like electrolytes, you're adding protein, or you're adding any of this stuff, unless it's like some sort of flavored water, then I don't like it. So Smart is right out.
First
This
of
is
all,
a
if it's
terrible
flavored
pick.
water, get it out, because that's not what this is. It's not the flavored water list.
Well, you better watch out, because there are flavored waters all across the board.
Yeah, all these Patreons, I see you. You're gonna get yours. Dymlos, number 5. Let's hear it.
Okay, so mine is a shout out to, because I don't really drink a lot of water. I am one of those really dehydrated Americans. So this is not my cup of tea, if you will, cup of water, if you will. So my number 5 is Liquid Death. And the only reason this is on the list, I actually have yet to drink any Liquid Death. But the reason that this is on the list is because it's a huge shout out to a company, a brand new company, it's only a couple years old now, that rebranded all of water. Because people don't really like drinking water, and this has become one of the most popular drinks of the Gen Zers and younger. They love Liquid Death, and it's because of its marketing, right? So hands down, big time shout out to Liquid Death for rebranding water. Well done, Liquid Death. You have done America and capitalism a service by rebranding the worst drink of all time and having Liquid Death as a super extremely popular and overpriced beverage of choice. So good job, Liquid Death. You are my number 5. Anyone else had Liquid Death before?
No.
It's not our drink.
I mean, it sounds super cool, but no, I haven't
Right?
had it.
But like, if Gen Zers like it, then I'm automatically out.
He's out.
Well, right.
Draq is out.
It's not that it's good or bad because it's water, right? It all tastes the same unless it's flavored water. But it's the fact that they have been able to make money off, the number one natural resource of all time. Like, anyone that can do this deserves to be in a top 5. And so, yeah, number 5.
I mean, I do like the fact that we're overcharging Gen Zers for stuff, but other than that, no. Black Death, get out. Horrible.
Liquid Death.
Not Black Death. That's a different thing.
That's
a different one.
what killed
Never mind.
Americans. Yeah. Liquid Death. All right, Vindini. Well, let's move on to your number 5.
Well, I, like you, am also not a big water guy, and especially not bottled water. Do you guys even recycle in America?
No.
Like, all the
Absolutely
plastic
not.
bottles you put. What about the
Landfills.
children? Does anybody think about the children and the trees?
We think about their money and taking it with Liquid Death.
All those recycle bins and regular trash bins, they're all going to the same landfill anyway. It doesn't matter.
We recycle here, so
Wink, wink.
we get money back for it.
Well, that's good.
Sure. It's great. Anyways, my number 5, Tim Hortons bottled water.
Canada.
So, you're stopping for a coffee, you're like, I'm going to get a water too. Tim Hortons water. I don't have a lot to say about water because, it's water. Right.
Are we 100% sure that this is a real thing? Are you sure
it
you're
is
not
a
just
real thing? I will send
slipping
you a
coffee into the water argument? Are we sure that's not happening?
I'm sure somebody else makes it for them, but there is.
I was gonna ask. Is there like an Aquafina or a?
I'm pretty sure.
Dasani?
I'm pretty sure someone's just in the back with the tap,
just putting a sticker on it. Yeah, right.
There you go.
It's just straight tap water.
Drink it. You'll like it.
But that Canadian tap water is like
it's like
pure
mountain,
gold.
right out of the mountains, basically.
Yeah. Love it. Well, Canada represented officially. All right, Draq, number 4, please.
Number 4, and remember, we have not yet climbed the mountain yet. We are at the bottom of the mountain, barely better than the rock gut stuff. And that is Fiji water. I think it's got a little bit less of the additives that Smart Water has. And so I like it slightly better than Smart Water, but we're still not to the good stuff yet. So it's okay, but
we're still not to the good stuff.
Yeah. The real good stuff starts at number 3. That's where the good stuff starts. So Fiji, number 4, just barely, and at the bottom of the mountain.
Once again, you have the sacredness of the top 5 is just out the window with you. How dare you even put something that you don't really like on a top 5 list? You couldn't spend 5 minutes to come up with 2 other waters that you actually like?
There are not 2 other waters that are better than those 2 waters. The rest of the bottled water is garbage, like absolute garbo, and should not be consumed at all. And so, like Liquid Death, like no,
a real water connoisseur.
Yes,
yeah, right.
That is why
I've only had 3 waters, and these are the top 3. Everything else is bunk.
My water has levels because I'm that
levels.
Deep.
Oh
yes.
my god,
you're like an ocean.
How have you already lost your top 5? You lost last week's because you only had 2 actual resolutions. This week, this is just like the ice cream episode all over again, where you're just coming up with waters that you don't even care about. Unbelievable. I hate your list already, and you lose. You've lost already, Draq.
I can't lose this week because I'm the only person that actually drinks water here. All right, Dymlos. Well, tell us what your number 4 is. I mean, if your list is so great. Woo.
It is so great. So if number 5 was a shout out, this is another shout out to the GOAT.
Wait, you're complaining to me. Wait, just hold on.
This is not my list.
No,
I am not the water connoisseur that you are.
No, hold on. You're telling me that my list that like I don't even like the ones, but you haven't even drank in any of these waters. You have 2 waters on your list.
Number 4, I've absolutely had.
That you don't even use.
His number 4 is like the OG. I think this is the first ever bottled water.
Evian water is the water that started it all. If it was not for Evian water, that's why it belongs on the top 5. I've had Evian water. I've not had Liquid Death. But for the same reason, these need to be on top 5s because they are iconic. Evian water is French, so it's already, dead to me because of that. but it is it's the thing that made bottled water popular. If it was not for Evian's like the Michael Jordan of water. No, let's take it back. It's like the
Jerry, Scottie Pippen of water.
No. It's like the Jerry. He's the logo of the NBA. What's his name? Jerry
West. And you automatically lose this week because you forgot Jerry West's name.
Sorry. Evian is like the Jerry West. It's the thing that made the NBA, put the NBA on the map. This is what put bottled water on the map. Is Evian water. I'll be honest with you. There's a reason nobody really likes it anymore. It's because it's old. It's, that's why no one can remember Jerry West's name, because he's old and he's dead now. Actually, I think he's still alive now that I say that. So I'm going to cut that out to make me sad. He's dead in all our hearts. Anyway, number 4, Evian water. Good job for being the OG that started it all.
So wait, let me get this straight. You put a water on your list, a number 4 water on your list that you don't like the taste of it. Is that pretty much what sums up what I just heard?
He didn't say he doesn't like the taste. He just said it's just old. It's not the liquid death. So it's not the new hotness.
You're not respecting the sanctity of the top 5 list.
He's totally
I am not
doing
respecting the water. Oh. I am respecting the sanctity of the top 5. The top 5 is the most important part.
Vindini,
of these first 2.
Save this train wreck of a list.
He's just saying that it's not the new hotness that liquid death is. It's just the old, tired standby. Like it was the one that started it all.
Wizard of waters.
It's the Wizard of Waters. Basically.
Liquid death is the Druid, but
there we go. It's a great. I regret now not putting Evian on my list. My number 4 is the Aquafina, and again, it's water in a bottle. So I don't have a lot to say until I get to number 1. It's water in a bottle. It's wet.
Well, and especially is this Pepsi or Coke? I can't remember who's Dasani and who's Aquafina.
This is Pepsi, I believe. I believe Dasani is Coke.
Yeah, you're right. Dasani is Coke, Aquafina is Pepsi. These are just boring. This is like the Bud Light of waters.
Yeah,
like it's just
like a water.
Boring American water.
I give you that.
Yep. So
that's all I got to say.
That's too bad that it's number 4. This is what we're talking about with water. I can't believe that this is even a top 5 list. No one should ever be doing a top 5 waters ever. Jack, this was a terrible idea. Speaking of terrible ideas, your number 3.
Crystal Geyser.
Never heard of it.
This water is amazing. Straight from the mountain. They're
all straight from the mountains.
No, they get the bottles and they put it in the river with their bare hands.
They make the bottles out of the mountain and then they melt the snow on top of the mountain.
As the freezing water runs over their hands and fills the bottle full of water, they quickly grab the cap and tap it off.
They are scooping the water with their bare hands into the bottle.
This is dysentery. This is how dysentery starts.
This does not sound like a very sanitary process.
And slide it down the mountain, load it into the truck, which then arrives at my front door.
This is where they've bathed, where they've pooped and peed. Yeah. It all goes into your Crystal Geyser.
Yeah, this guy just came out of the can and he's scooping your water out.
Why is this one a little tinted brown a little bit? It's just a little Crystal Geyser.
Yeah, it's the best. Dymlos, you're number 3.
I also thought you were going to say crystal meth when you said
I love
crystal.
how you just tried to skip past this so we stop ragging on this list. Again, 3, 4, and 5, all terrible. Great. And I can't wait to see number 1 and 2. They're probably even worse. Number 3 for me, as you've asked, Drac, is the first of the flavored waters.
It's not water. If you flavor it, it's a drink.
It is water. It's Propel.
No, it's
still
not.
water.
No, it's
still water.
You put a flavor in it, and
absolutely
it's
100%.
No.
Where's the
has
little
to be
soda?
Grape?
It's
Where's
a soda.
the little?
When you put flavor in it,
it's not carbonated. How could it be a soda?
If you put flavor in it, if it's a sugar drink,
you're
ridiculous.
Kool-Aid. It has no sugar in it.
If you put
it's sugar-free Kool-Aid. It's sugar-free clear Kool-Aid.
It's sugar-free Kool-Aid.
Yep. Oh my God!
It goes on the top 5
ridiculous.
sugar-free Kool-Aid list, not on the top 5 water list.
The only reason that this is on my list is because the grape flavor is so unbelievably good. It makes me want to drink water. That's how good it is.
That's impressive.
It is impressive.
It makes me want to drink sugar-free grape Kool-Aid.
All the other flavors of Propel, and I affectionately call Propel. I don't know if anyone else out there calls it Propel, but that's what I see when I see the bottle. I'm like, ooh, a Propel. It's never Propel. Like that's not a real word. We talk about propellers. That's Propel. It's water, and it has to be grape. The mixed berry, the kiwi strawberry is okay, but everything it's grape. It's grape or bust when it comes to Propel. Have you ever had the Propel Vindini?
I have had the Propel. It's a solid water.
The grape one's good. I know Drax never had it because he doesn't understand what water is.
He's just the water purist.
He's the water connoisseur.
If I'm gonna do
Water
a drink,
purist.
if I'm gonna do Kool-Aid, I'm just gonna do Kool-Aid. I'm not gonna screw with.
I mean, it's got water in it.
Shout out Hastings, Nebraska, the inventor of Kool-Aid,
Yeah.
the birthplace of Kool-Aid.
All right, Vindini.
Now you know.
Yeah.
Number 3 is the Fiji water. You know, a nice bottle, a pleasant taste of water.
A pleasant tasteless,
odorless drink, not from the same poopy mountain stream that Drax water comes
Crystal
from.
butt
Crystal
geyser.
butt geyser meth. But, you know, a solid water.
At least it's a water. At least you've got that part right.
Oh,
Word.
geez.
At least
Word.
you
And
know
Crystal
what-
Geyser is straight
what
diarrhea.
Diarrhea
is.
water.
Oh my goodness.
All right, Drac, please redeem your terrible list with your number 2.
Number 2 is your good old fashioned Kirkland Costco water.
Oh, this list is so bad. This list is so unbelievably bad.
Dude, Kirkland water is great. It's great tasting. It's nice and cool. It's refreshing. There's no aftertaste. There's no weird stuff in it. It's just straight, really good, really cheap, priced water. And
Do you?
I buy so much Kirkland water because I buy all the water for the company I work at. And so I get probably like 8 cases of water from Costco a week. And so, yeah, like I'm hauling cases of water out of Costco every week. So
Pairs nicely with a hot dog or a rotisserie chicken.
Love it. Love the hot dog. On the way out of getting the 8 cases of water, you got to grab that hot dog.
I don't think you understand the Kirkland brand. All that Kirkland brand is rebranding another person's product. So Kirkland water isn't even a real water. It's taking either Dasani or some other bottled water, slapping a new sticker on it. Same thing with all their booze. Every single one of those Kirkland brand booze is a different bottle of the same booze. So their whiskey is a famous whiskey. Their vodka is a famous vodka. They just rebrand it. So it's not even a real water. Your number 2 is not even real. It's just a sticker.
Is it not H2O? Is it not? Because whatever they copied, whatever they took, I don't really freaking care. It tastes great. Like, it tastes great. And so I'm fine with that.
Ugh, you make me so sick. Your list is terrible.
I tell you what they didn't copy. They didn't copy grape. There was no grape flavor in the Kirkland water. Okay? So my list still wins. Dymlos,
no.
number 2.
Number 2 is hoity-toity Voss. Voss is wonderful water if you've never had it. It comes in a real fancy bottle. It is a fancy water. It is not the bottled water that you buy if you are a cheap ass like Drac. You stay away from Voss. That's why I appreciate Voss, because it keeps Drax away.
You know what the Voss people are doing? They're in the back with the Kirkland water, just pouring it into the
It might
pouring
be.
it in.
The Kirkland water might be Voss water.
could be.
That's an absolute possibility, because Kirkland takes really good brands, slaps their own sticker on it, and sells it for way cheaper. So I wouldn't be surprised if
all
Voss
I have
water
to say
was
is my
Kirkland
number
water.
2 costs about $5 less per bottle than yours does.
That doesn't matter.
I'm still
so
winning.
you clearly are just a cheap ass water drinker. That's all you are. That's it. And it's not even your number 1.
I like to call myself a Scrooge, not a cheap. Okay.
Okay.
Scrooge.
Okay. Well,
Get
Voss,
your slander right.
Voss is pretty good. It's not the number 1. Out of all these waters, there's only one water that I want to drink, and that's my number 1. So we'll get there. So Voss is like
You're
a far
saying that the
distance number 2.
sanctity of the top 5, there's ones that are more higher and lesser on the top 5? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, but they're not trash. All 5 of mine I have not labeled as trash and at the bottom of the mountain barrel. Like you literally said that both Fiji and Smart Water don't even
No,
that
I
aren't
didn't
even
say
good.
trash. I never said trash. Never
You
said
definitely said the bottom of
that. I
the
said
mountain.
the bottom of the mountain.
Well,
The water bottle, the bottled water mountain.
there are over 100 different water bottlers. So you're comparing
Yeah.
Fiji
Everything
to
after
Arrowhead.
5 is definitely trash. Everything after 5 is trash.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah. I just can't handle this list anymore. So Vin, give us your number 2 so we can wrap
I
this
don't
thing
know.
up.
I don't know if I can follow up after Voss. That is fancy water.
It is fancy water. You are correct.
Smart water. Close.
Smart.
It was close between Fiji and Smart. You know, it was a neck and neck battle, and at the end of the day, I just said they're both water. So that's my argument.
Yep.
But
Both
Voss
taste
is
like mouth.
I will give you that Voss has the nicest bottle by far.
I may disagree with my number 1, but you're right. The marketing on the Voss is superior to most.
You just
bottles.
look at it and you're like, whoa, that is expensive water. That's
exactly.
for rich people.
I'm paying that price.
That's what the rich people drink. Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly. When
Word.
you are walking around with Voss, you know you have reached the upper echelon.
The pinnacle.
Yeah.
The pinnacle.
All right. Well, Smart was Drax number 5 in the bottom of the mountain, if you will. So let's hear what this Drac number 1 all-time best water, greatest snack of all time, please.
Listen, if your Kirkland water is your budget, is your staple, your everyday water, then my creme de la creme, because I'm not crazy, I'm not paying $12 for water. Just get out. I'm on a budget. I got 100 kids to feed. So my fancy water is then, of course, Aquafina. Aquafina, really good tasting. I really like, for whatever reason, I really like when Aquafina gets cold, when you put it in the refrigerator, it just tastes just a little bit better than that Kirkland water, and it is my absolute most favorite water. When you see me on stream drinking that number 2 snack, just chugging it down in my cup, it's probably going to be Aquafina water that I've poured in that cup.
Basically, you're drinking Pepsi with no carbonation.
I hate everything. You have named the Bud Light of waters as your number 1 water, and you're the water connoisseur. I just don't get you, Drax, sometimes. Like, you have blown my mind today. This is, I hope that everyone in the chat is completely destroying you right now, as they should be, because you've just named the Pepsi water as the number 1 water.
Because it's the best. Pepsi and Coke are onto the secret. They know what Americans want. They know how to mass sell it, and they're on it. Pepsi, like they sell sodas. They know what we want, and they give it to us.
In all the top 5 lists that we've had, you've at least been able to pull 1 or 2 that I can agree with. But there is, well, I guess I do agree with one of them because it's on my list.
Wait a minute. Your Fiji water's your number 3.
No, it's not. It's my number 1.
That's Vindini's list. Yeah, your Fiji water's your number 1.
You ruined my number 1 reveal again.
Well, that's what you get for getting things mixed up.
But you said it was the bottom of the mountain.
It is the bottom of the
Fiji
mountain.
water is the best water and the only water that I will drink. If I am buying a bottled water, it better be Fiji. I want nothing else other than Fiji. It's the shape of the bottle is awesome. The look of the bottle is awesome. It comes from the cleanest water in all of the world, which is in Fiji. It's by far the best. It is the cleanest taste because it tastes like nothing. It tastes like hydration. And that's what water should taste like.
Tastes like hydration.
Yes.
I love it. That should be their marketing campaign.
It should be. I might send that to them. It is by far. I can't believe that you had it as number 4 and Vin, you had it as number 3. I feel like you have not explored all of Fiji because it should be your number 1. There's no doubt that it should be your number 1. And we look at our Patreons, there's only one that is bad. But the other two that we have that made lists also have Fiji in their top 5. The fact that everyone agrees that Fiji is in the top 5, and it should be everyone's number 1. So, number 1, Fiji. It's the best water, best presentation, best hydration, cleanest water. I guess if you want to call it a flavor, it really is flavorless, but has no additives. It has nothing. It just is pure hydration, and it's wonderful. Fiji, number 1.
Dymlos puts Fiji as number 1 because the bottle looks pretty and expects to win. No,
That's part of it.
No, get
The
out.
presentation is part of it.
No, it's all about taste. I don't care about presentation.
Then it should be your number 1 still.
No, because it's not the best tasting.
It is by far the best tasting.
No, it's only 4. Nope, it's not even close.
You're so ridiculous. You have diarrhea water as your number 3. I don't want to even hear about what's best tasting.
You think the natives in Fiji are just like sitting on the edge? No, they're right in the middle of that pond, scooping that water out.
They're
naked.
not doing that.
Yeah, they
are absolutely not doing that.
Oh, they're just scooping it out with a big old wooden bucket.
You're
they're just
so
like
ridiculous. That's what you've labeled as crystal butt geyser. That's your
crystal butt.
No,
geyser.
my people are on the mountain scooping in the snow. Remember, that's my people. Your people are butt naked in the pond.
Gross. That is not how that happens. Anyway, please, Vindini, put a wrap on this list.
I mean,
I'm so over this.
I debated for a while if Fiji should be 2. They went back and forth, but I put it where it is, and I'm going to stand by it. The number 1 Vindini water. If I'm going to a gas station, convenience store, and I'm looking for something to quench my thirst, a vitamin water, because it's got water right in the name. Draq's going to hate it because it's got flavor.
Yikes.
But it's also got, what else has it got? Vitamins. It's got your vitamins in there.
Vitamins are good.
So many different versions of it. You want to be alert. You want to have some vitamin C. You want to have some focus. Oh, great water. Drinking that all day long.
If you want some vitamins, then take a gummy in the morning. What the heck, man? Like,
whoa. We allowed to talk about that kind of stuff? Gummies?
You live in Canada, so
just drop your Flintstones vitamin into your water bottle and shake it up a little bit.
Crush it up. Crush up my Flintstones multivitamin. Pour it in there.
I'm sorry. When I want to drink water, I actually want to drink the water. I don't. It's my number 2 snack. I'm not here screwing around. I'm here for the enjoyment.
I don't know.
Of
drinking
my water.
Aquafina is your number 1. You are absolutely screwing around.
If I'm drinking water, I'm going to my fridge and getting water right out of my fridge because I got good water where I live. So,
all right. Well, both
this
your lists are terrible.
Awful. Everything about your list is awful.
But you know who else's list is terrible? Yep, that would be our Patreon. So
it's real bad. It's real bad.
Something else.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to start with Zip because... Wait, first, I forgot the sound. Draq, please make the sound and put up the list. So good. So good. It really makes the show.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to start with Zip because he is the most normal. It's all ones that we've already talked about. Well, I take that back. Aquafina number 5, boring Bud Light water. Glacier. This is actually I like this because it has the handle on it. That's pretty cool. That's good marketing right there. And it's it is what it is. Fiji should be number 1. Liquid Death, great. But Icelandic. That is one that went by us all, and I do agree that Icelandic is good water. It's just I never can find it. Yeah, mm-hmm. It's not something that's readily available in Nebraska, so I don't get to drink it all the time. Only when I'm traveling, or at least I don't see it in my gas stations. Excuse me. So hopefully, Zip wherever he lives, that's his gas station water, or he gets it all the time because it is good water. It's very clean and refreshing, very similar to Fiji. Now on to the first of the 2 troll lists with Archbishops. This is where the battle begins because Archbishops loves
real
carbonated water. This is clearly he's French, and or European of some sort. I shouldn't just.
Did we miss that? Have we been doing this with Archbishop for all this time, and we just totally missed it?
Maybe he's living in Europe. Who knows? His number 5 is great. It's the number 1 water of all time. I don't know why it's the number 5. It is number 5. It made the list because all the rest of it are carbonated water. So the fact that Fiji, a non-carbonated water, made the list of some idiot that only loves carbonated water speaks miles that Fiji is the best regular water.
Or a guy that's taste buds are so twisted from drinking that much carbonated water also put Fiji on his list.
I had to look up all these waters other than Perrier.
I've never heard of Topo Chico.
I thought that was a Pokemon when he first said it. It turns out it wasn't. But yeah, the Calistoga, Perrier, Topo Chico, Pellegrino. I guess I've heard of Pellegrino too. Maybe he lives in Italy. That's what it is. All these, who is an American that drinks carbonated water? Get out.
This is gross. It's just gross.
Leave.
It's only slightly below flavored water though. So like your grape number 3, the Propel grape, like that is definitely worse than the Perrier. So
basically he picked Fiji as his number 1 normal
That's
water.
how I look at it. Yeah. That is how I look at it.
I get it.
Yep.
I see that.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I guess good job for your real number 1, which is your number 5 archbishops, and then the rest are not real water. They're real stupid waters. Now on to Screech.
Screech has a list I can get behind. This is number 5.
I agree.
This is more the kind of water I drink.
Remember when early on when Grogu did the top 5 pizza toppings and he listed all 5 as pepperoni? I list this list here that Screech has made. I list right up there with it as most hardcore baller. Stick to your guns. You know, if you have an opinion on things, I wouldn't even say a troll necessarily, but like if you believe in something and you want to shout it from the mountaintop, not Crystal Geyser's diarrhea mountaintop, but from just the proverbial mountaintop, then by all means go for it. So Screech, quick rundown. Mandarin orange flavored seltzer water put in a bottle. Stream water put into a bottle. Filtered tap water put into a bottle. This is kind of weird. Tap water put into a bottle. How does filtered tap water under regular tap water?
That's weird.
I don't get that.
Tap water
Maybe he hasn't changed his filter in a really long time.
That could be. Number 1, water from a garden hose put into a bottle. And in parentheses under that, and this because this is the end of the show and only 15 people are still listening, it clearly states, fuck bottled water. So it does. That was in his notes. I took it straight from him. So good on you, Screech, for he just hates the wasting of the plastic. And I get it. Word. I feel real bad about it every time I drink a bottle of water and then throw it in the landfill because I don't recycle. That's not true. I do recycle. It's just, I agree.
He's not wrong on number 1.
Filter your own water. Put it into a bottle yourself. Don't buy reusable water. We're just feeding into capitalism every time we buy bottled water. Problem is it's easy. And I'm a lazy American, and it is what it is. So I'm gonna buy bottled water because I don't want my tap water. Even though I live in the place where it's the Ogallala Aquifer. It's like the best aquifer in all of North America, and I still don't want to drink that water. And so it is what it is.
He's not wrong on number 1. A hot day, you get that garden hose. You need something to quench your thirst.
Especially
you let it run for a little bit. You let it run for a little bit so you don't get that super hot, gross part. Oh my god!
Yeah, 1980s Dymlos loved garden hose water.
Also, his number 4 is basically Drax's number 3, right?
Yeah, the crystal diarrhea
geyser. Out of a diarrhea geyser.
Dysentery water.
All I have to say is I definitely would like tap water put into a bottle better than Fiji.
Really? You listed it as your number 4, you asshole. You are just trolling me now.
Spiteful. That's just spiteful.
Just pure spite. It's fine, Draq. You have
once
once
mad
again
about
lost.
your boring wizard getting replaced by the super cool new nature wizard. Don't take it out on Diamond.
You are never coming back, Vindini.
You're back every week, Vin.
Coming back.
We'll see you next week, Vindini.
I'm a new regular on the show.
You're going to be more regular than Redbeard at this point.
Before you leave, we've one final word. Before you've forgotten all that you've heard, there is a moment evergreen. Stay here a while and listen to me.
All right, Dymlos, now comes my favorite part of the stream where we get to kick Vindini to the curb and say goodbye forever because he's been a train wreck on this episode.
Oh, Vin, you've been so great. I'm so glad you finally came on the episode.
I'm happy to be here, and anything I can do to piss off Draq, I'm happy to oblige.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best. I'm so glad I won this week's top 5 again for the all but one time. I've won every time other than the one time with the origami.
Just in case you're wondering, I'm looking for a level 23 cleric to fill in for midnight Eastern Standard Time Monday nights. If you have any applications, just hit me up on Discord.
You better be Canadian, though.
Just so happens I'm leveling a cleric.
It's so good. Well, Vin, we appreciate you. We appreciate you being with us on Monday nights, too, holding down all the heals, because for whatever reason, it's hard to find a healer. Healers tend to be hard to find, so we appreciate you for always carrying that flag for us, because none of the rest of us want to play healer other than me. I'm the only one that doesn't mind playing the healer. Everyone else is out, completely out.
Yeah, I don't think you want any of those other guys.
And you definitely
healing.
don't want me
It's
healing.
crazy.
Like,
that's terrifying, actually.
Yeah.
Just the thought of that.
I agree completely. It's
No,
almost
glad-
worse than him tanking.
I would like to see that, actually. Drag tank.
We have done a
it.
few of those. It's not real great.
Nice.
It's better than healer.
Glad to be on. Thanks for having me on. It was great. I look forward to my reoccurring role of making Draq cry.
Anytime Druid is mentioned in Joppa's stream, you're coming back on.
Word. I'm here.
All right. All the real arcane wizards say goodbye.